give me a moment's peace and take out the trash.
We pay taxes for people to come and take the garbage.
Hey, listen, Greenie, no more sneaking rides to the junkyard.
Yeah, man, take a taxi when you want to go to the junkyard.
Welcome to Hot Trash Unlimited, the show where me, Joe,
and me, Caleb,
go to the theaters and watch Evan Hansen.
Oh no, you could have kept singing. I would have kept talking like
they
whenever
do.
He sings in the movie.
That would have been good. I didn't think that far into the bit.
So we go to the theaters. We see movies that we think are going to be hot trash.
90% of the time we see movies like this.
No, I don't think. I'll be honest. I don't think we've ever seen such an easy target to make fun of. This movie is
Charlie's Angels?
Charlie's Angels had more potential to be good.
Yeah.
I think this. I almost don't want to make fun of it. It's like you go out hunting and you see like a two-legged deer and you decide that's the one you're going to shoot. Like, it doesn't seem fair.
I have to justify the last 2 hours and 17 minutes that I spent.
I think we've already established it, but hey, Joe, what did we see this week?
We saw Dear Evan Hansen, the theatrical version of the play.
No one signed your cast. Now we can both pretend we are friends.
I'm sorry about my brother.
Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere?
I wish everything was different. Wish I was part of something. I wish that anything I said mattered.
Have you ever felt like you could disappear?
Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, that's mine. I'll just take it.
Wait, I need that back. Like you could fall and no one would hear.
Connor took a letter from me and it was an assignment from my therapist. Ew.
Even when the dark comes crashing through.
Connor's mother and stepfather are here to see you.
When you need a friend to carry you.
Connor wanted you to have this.
And when you're broken on the ground.
Dear Evan Hansen, he wrote it to you.
His last words, Connor took his own life.
He won.
Oh, God. Okay. Based on a very popular and one of the biggest, like, recent hits of Broadway.
Very successful, too, right?
Yes. By Lester and Paul, I think is their name. It's Levinson and Paul. They're the duo behind Greatest Showman and La La Land, so some big hits.
One movie that I like, one movie that I haven't seen.
Yeah, and the lead star returns for this.
Oh boy, does he.
So you'd think that this is set up to be a great movie, maybe even Oscar-worthy. I sure think that's what they were hoping for, because there are a lot of capital A acting moments in this.
Oh yeah. Watch me, listen to me, act.
Witness me.
Man, our holiday season for musicals is just like, it just keeps giving.
Well,
this isn't quite holiday season.
Yeah, this is a little too early.
Yeah.
I think they were like, musicals do good around the holidays. Oh wait, Matrix 4. Oh wait, Dune. Oh wait, No Way Home. Nope. Move it up. It can go up against Venom 2. Hey Joe, what's this movie about?
Dear Evan Hansen follows, I was going to call him a boy, but a 20-year-old man named Evan Hansen. He's a little awkward, and at his high school that he's been at for 11 years, he's not very popular. He has no friends, none at all. But then,
Except for the one he has.
no, family friend.
Yes.
Don't misjudge their relationship.
Yes.
As he states. No friends. Until one day there's this boy named Connor, who the other kids refer to as a school shooter, to paint you an image of what he looks like. He doesn't even look like that. He's not wearing a trench coat or anything.
He's like Midwest emo.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Paints his nails black. Writes his name on his cast that he has.
Yeah.
On his arm, and he's like, "Here, we can both pretend we have friends."
Yeah.
And it's like, aw. But then Connor finds this letter that Evan wrote himself for therapy, that his therapist recommends he does to build his self-confidence. And it mentions his sister. And Connor misjudges this and takes it as Evan was using him somehow, making fun of him. Don't really know how that leap of logic got there.
I think that's fine. Connor is clearly troubled. So
at that point, you're kind of wondering what the mental gymnastics were, though.
I'm about to say this, knowing full well that Connor is in 2 scenes of this musical. I think he's probably the character who's best understood by the writers.
He got out the movie as fast as he could.
Yeah.
And Connor commits suicide, and his parents find the note that Evan wrote himself that Connor has and think it was Connor's note to Evan. And Evan rolls with it and lies to everyone that Connor was his best friend and uses it to gain
clout.
It's not quite popularity, but like acceptance, like a personality.
Notoriety.
Yeah. He uses it to build like a persona.
And more importantly, to get a girlfriend who just happens to be
the sister.
Yeah, Connor's little sister. You know, I do want to emphasize, very popular musical. We are just talking about the movie. So don't get mad at us if we go after your
Or do, I'll fight
Broadway. We can't fight back because we haven't seen the Broadway musical.
No, I can fight back against people getting mad at me about this movie. I'll fight back.
No one can justifiably get mad at us for what we're about to say at the movie. This movie's terrible. But like the musical, maybe it's more self-aware. I don't know. But this movie is the cringiest piece of media I have ever seen. Partly because the premise is just, let's put awkward character in socially awkward situations, but also because a 30-year-old man is walking around with, admittedly,
other 30-year-olds.
Yes, but none of them look like it.
There's some extras in there during the pep rally at the very beginning. There's a lot of like, okay, no one looks their age.
But Alana and Zoe and Jared all look like they can play high schoolers.
Yeah.
Ben Platt. And part of the problem with this is one of the first things you see him do is put on a pair of New Balance sneakers. So like,
I saw that. I was like, oh, it just keeps giving.
So like already setting him up to be an old man. But like he looks like someone should be calling the police.
Well, yeah.
him.
Do you think they're like, put him in stripes? That'll make him look like a kid. He's ready for his school photos.
Obviously, makeup and stuff, they're trying to make him look either more awkward or younger, and neither of it's working.
And the haircut.
He looks so old. Like, Ben Platt is an attractive man in other things. He looks like an ancient troll in this. And I get it, like Evan Hansen shouldn't be like a handsome character, but
Evan Hansen.
That's not what they're doing here. What they're doing is they're trying to justify this terrible casting choice. I get it. He played him on Broadway. He was probably great. Cast someone else.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's start there. Does this movie just feel like a huge ego stroke for him to you, like it does for me? Like, it feels like everybody's just like, you're so good, Ben. Oh, that performance was chilling, Ben.
Everything outside of the movie makes me think that. Because his response to people is like, well, this movie probably wouldn't have been made if they didn't cast me. And I'm like, really?
Don't bless us with that idea. Don't give us hope.
These two people, Levinson and Paul, have two bangers under their belt with Greatest Showman and
La La Land.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been made without you, Ben. Someone who, like, people may remember from Pitch Perfect. Calm down. And then, of course, his dad was a producer on this. But in the movie itself, I don't think it's, like, an ego thing.
I don't know. He's got the acting moments for me. Just over-exaggerating, over-singing everything. Like, over-singing over everyone.
His eyes bugging out.
That's the overacting thing. It's like, you're in a movie. You don't need to do. You're not on the stage, Buckaroo.
Yeah, like
everybody can see. The camera's right here.
So many awkward close-ups, and like he's always hunched over too, which I also think is probably something he was trying to do to make himself look younger.
Yeah, all his hands are always like up, like. But please, master.
It always looks like he's gonna explode out and like eat Zoe or something. He's such
make out with every woman on the screen,
including his mother
and Zoe's mother.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is why cast this guy? Yes, he's the star of the show or whatever. I feel like there would have been like at least two other people from the play.
Yeah,
if that
like,
were the reason.
From the
like at least, or like a cameo from some other people if it was like, we're honoring the play's legacy.
Yeah, make him the dad. He could pull it off. I bet if I saw him on Broadway, I'd be like, he did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And he certainly knows how to sing. But
oh yeah, I'm not knocking him for his singing. Man can sing.
Yeah, but like everyone else in this movie understands, except maybe Amy Adams, that they are that they need to play this stuff like close to the chest and like be strategic about how their emotions come out.
And Alana.
But you performed it best at the beginning of this. Every song is like one stanza of really quiet
and very emotional.
And then, have you ever felt like?
And then it always ends. It goes back to very quiet.
Yeah, it goes from shy person their first time at karaoke to like Hugh Jackman and Les Mis. Oh, it's so awkward.
I'm actually sober and I'm very embarrassed at karaoke again.
But like sometimes we go and see movies and there's only one big thing to harp on, like Ben Platt's miscasting in this. But no, there's so much more.
Dear Evan Hansen keeps giving.
All right, let's break this down.
Who's next in our sights?
Let's hop to Alana by
Okay.
talking about one of the most awkward scenes in the movie, and that's saying a lot. So Evan sings his big song about how sad he is, and he walks in.
Which one?
And he walks into the gymnasium, and like it cranes out, and he's like alone in this sea of people. He goes to sit over by his not friend, Jared.
Family friend at the soundboard.
Okay, y'all, this soundboard has one input. It's this 1/4-inch cable. I'm not sure where it's going. We do see the mic that's supposedly hooked into it.
The mic has an XLR coming out of it.
Yes. And of course there are speakers, right? But there's no outputs from the it shows a wide shot of the soundboard, and there is no cables anywhere near it. Joe,
Caleb, you're not thinking of the matters at hand. Deforestation.
And then we're introduced to probably the worst character in this play that's about a terrible person.
Definitely
Alana.
the worst character.
Alana's first lines are, "Go Bobcats, isn't this fun? You know it's not fun, deforestation," which sounds like something I would say to Joe as a joke.
I looked at him, I was like, they could have just cast us. They wouldn't even need to write lines.
It'd be age appropriate. I'm younger than Ben Platt. Oh God. I laughed so hard when she said that. And then it cuts to him talking to Jared. And Jared in this movie, God bless him, is just like, one note, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. Most high school attitude in the movie. But then it will randomly cut back to her and she'll say things like, "Model you in." And like just random words that have nothing to do with the conversation or the overall plot. It's so awkward.
You know what also is awkward? Every time she speaks a line.
I mean, you obviously didn't like her performance.
So ADR is a thing.
Yeah.
There is noticeable ADR in this movie.
The most noticeable ADR I've ever heard in a movie. Yes. Outside of student films.
Some of it comes from her. I'm convinced they didn't use any of her actual takes on set. Everything she says sounds like it was comped together, where they're like, oh, she pronounced that word a little better, but none of the like inflection. I don't know.
It's kind of like a text to speech. Type thing.
It's the TikTok AI that talks. That's what she sounds like. Nothing sounds like she's confident in like any of her thoughts.
See,
and this is in the acting, not in the delivery, not in the characterization.
Yes. I think that I didn't pick up on this mainly because I was still reeling about how awkward Ben Platt was in all these scenes. But the thing that really stuck out so much about her to me is she is two different types of terrible characters. And there is a brief moment in the middle when you think that she'll be a good character, but she isn't. When you first meet her and she's like, oh, this is just like a cringy person who like picks an activist topic of the week, but never like sees it through or whatever. Then there's a brief moment where you're like, oh no, I'm just as messed up as everyone else. It's just I hide it behind being productive, which I think is a good idea. And I think her song about that is nice. Then she turns into, if we fail in rebuilding this orchard, Evan Hansen,
every kid will commit suicide.
Including me, Evan. Have you forgot what I told you on the swings? It's either she's delusional enough to believe her lies or she's manipulating this manipulator, and she never has any consequences for her terrible actions.
Yeah, so I think the most terrible moment, Evan sends her the fake suicide note to get her off her back. Or get her off his back because she starts having doubts that he actually knew Connor.
Yeah.
Like any rational person would, because his story does not line up whenever he talks about it.
He truly is a Walter White, and she is his Skylar.
And then she's like, we're down $20,000. I know it can get us there. Pity. So she posts the suicide note online, which has consequences for the parents, and then she deletes it. And then that's the last we really deal with Alana.
Well, she deletes it, but it's too late. The Redditors have their hands on it.
The Redditors have gone too far.
Everything goes super viral in this world.
Everything.
Like, this is like a 2008 YouTube type world.
Not just everything. 20 videos of the same thing.
Yes.
They really captured every angle.
Each independently going viral.
Yeah.
Also, weird thing about this. You see Facebook, you see Instagram, you see Reddit.
You see TikTok.
Do you see TikTok?
Yeah, they do a stitch at one point.
Okay, I did not think you ever saw TikTok.
Or a duet.
And I was about to say the only place any of this cringy stuff could go viral is TikTok.
On TikTok. It's on TikTok. During his big his big speech in front of the school, there's like people that duet themselves in talking about doing the classic TikTok thing where they just nod.
When she releases the suicide note, everyone's getting mad at the family and not her. And the family's not even mentioned in the suicide note. Zoe is mentioned
It's their
very
lack
briefly.
of mentioning that is the problem in people's eyes.
Which is dumb. If I read a suicide note online, which I wouldn't do because that is highly unethical. But if I did, and I did not see any mention of like the person's parents, I would think it's not their fault. It's not like this person's main reason was it's like, Daddy didn't love me. But
this person was clearly in a rational state of mind during the writing of this note.
Yeah, but these people are like doing mental gymnastics to be like, these parents must be the worst people in the world.
Why are they begging for money? They're rich. Never mind the fact that they are not the ones who set up the Connor Fund.
Yes, there's a part in this where Evan's like, after he admits that he's been lying, he's like, I'm sorry that you're getting all the flack, Zoe. And Zoe's like, it sucks that like people can't know, but my mom doesn't want you to do anything stupid. Yes, obviously blame Evan. He's a bad person. But you know who's a worse person in this scenario? Evan did not leak the suicide note.
No, he didn't.
Evan did not try to exploit this person's death by first holding a
Well, he did, but
memorial.
not in this way.
Yes, that's true. He didn't exploit it for money. He exploited it for sex, which is worse. But at least it started. Evan did not start out wanting to exploit it. He started out wanting these people to feel better.
We started off wanting them off his back, and then it was...
Evan is also a bad person. But I think Alana's worse. And Alana never gets any comeuppance.
Alana's definitely worse because I think she's also viewed through the eyes of what she's doing is right.
I think the movie recognizes that leaking the suicide note is wrong.
Yeah.
But like the movie has this problem with Evan too. It wants to acknowledge that there are problems with what these characters are doing, but they don't want to punish the characters.
Yeah, there's no consequences ever.
Even when Evan reveals that he's been lying, he has to break up with his girlfriend. No duh. But then he gets in a much better place because of it.
Who do we want to send our sights on next? I know who I'm going for.
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
Okay, so I'm trying to, as we introduce these characters, explain more of the plot. So you explain Connor very well. And then we get to this part in the second act. Amy Adams is really the one driving the familial connection to Evan. The father is just trying to be like kind of tough about it and be like, we can make this through.
He's clearly not like comprehending how he feels about it.
Yeah, he's compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And then Zoe's like, Connor was a bad person. I don't want to feel sad, even though she clearly feels sad. But Amy Adams, what they're trying to do is show that she's in denial. What they're doing is showing that she's psychotic.
You cannot convince me after this performance that Amy Adams has ever been good in anything. She was this bad. She was awful.
I hope it's not career ending because Amy Adams is really
she
good.
She needs a new agent. She's had a few duds lately.
I mean, even with Woman in the Window, at least there I can see why she would take that role. That is the type of role that I'm sure she got a nice fat paycheck for. She was working with some good actors, and on paper, I bet that story sounded great.
I can see why she took this role. Same reason why I see everybody who took everybody who took a role in Cats. Big musical. This would probably be good for my career.
But here's the thing.
Why did she choose in this direction? And you're like, huh?
Why did she choose to act like this? She has crazy ex-girlfriend eyes the entire time. She is matching Ben Platt energy. That's one thing you shouldn't do.
She's absolutely awful in this. She every single time Evan says something, she like twists it. Yeah, they're trying to do an in denial thing, but she's just crazy.
Yeah, and she's trying to...
She's never like reading anything that Evan, like his body language, which she has a lot of because he's hunched over the entire time.
And I get people don't always react rationally when they're grieving. On the other hand, if this person was really the best friend of your son to the point where he's the person who he's writing in his last moments on Earth, why are you making them come to your house and relive like what are probably very traumatic moments now? And she's dragging her family into this, and she's like trying to force her daughter to forget that her son was abusive. Like, she is a terrible person. Add her to the list. She's not as bad as Evan. She's not as bad as Alana, but she's a bad person.
Yeah. And she has like a one moment of like, she is the adult in this situation. Don't take it out on this kid after everything's been revealed.
Yes,
it's a very, very like rational moment in this movie of irrationality.
Yeah. But I don't think it's enough to make up for the rest of the character.
No, it's not.
This leads pretty well into, I think, talking about the sister, because Zoe. Yeah, Zoe, because there is a scene where she is talking to her mom about all the kind of abuse she went through at the hands of her brother. And then she has a song, and she's dealing very well, I think, the actor, and even the song to a certain extent, with like the conflicting grief between like, this was a terrible person, but it was
still my brother.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's a very good scene. And she's probably the best actor in the movie. Unfortunately,
she's definitely given the best performance.
Yeah, and there's a part later on where she's like thanking Evan for it's like, you gave me my brother back and all this stuff. I get why people like this movie. This is
the play.
Or even the movie. Like, it's a very cathartic scene, and she's carrying it on her shoulders. And then the camera cuts to Evan, and I'm like, oh God, cut back to the child. Get an adult in here, not the adult that the camera's pointing at. But unfortunately, after this, she's strapped with
Evan.
Quite literally, because they get in a relationship, which is so creepy.
It's the most incomprehensible relationship in the world. So they have connected through Evan's fake grief and
yes, and
Zoe's real grief.
Oh, and there's a really creepy song. It's the worst song in the musical, where she's like, tell me things that my brother said about me to prove that, like, you know, he cared about me. And so he just starts listing off things that he finds attractive in her. At the end of it, it's like, Evan, are you telling me my brother wanted to have sex with me? Like, that's what the natural reaction should have been.
Yeah. They get together, and she's like, I don't like you because of my brother. I just like you. It's why?
Maybe she's just into older men.
I'm waiting for you to bring up your favorite segment, because I have a little tidbit about the life of high school.
All right, let's do this. If y'all go back and listen to our Kissing Booth 2 episode, one of my favorite segments to bring up when I'm on stuff with Joe, is this what high school is really like? Because I was homeschooled, so I don't know. Joe, this is the main thing that stuck out to me in this one. Were you ever in a situation where you were like in an assembly hall or a cafeteria or at a party, and then suddenly you start hearing all the notification sounds, and then suddenly everyone looks at their phones and they start staring at one person?
When it happened in the grocery, that was my favorite part.
It happens so much in this movie.
No, because usually it's one person getting it and then they send it around, which you could say that's what happens here.
Just in like a super sped up.
Yeah, super sped up fashion. No one makes direct eye contact with these people. It's like a glance, like a kind of thing. My thing is, cliques are a thing in high schools.
Yeah.
There's always going to be the outcasts.
Yeah.
That are, they don't really fit in with any group. You know what these outcasts do? They find the other outcasts.
That's why I was wondering.
Maybe your friend wasn't here that day or something like that. In no high school world where it's this big of a school, does Evan not have anyone? Literally anyone. There's always going to be another awkward person.
I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who do just kind of coast along unnoticed.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those kinds of people, but like Mr. Evan Hansen, who is so focused on having a connection with someone, would find another awkward person.
Yeah.
It's also one of the other high school things that bother me, like, this year's going to be different. Is it? You're not at a new school. Everybody, like, there's not going to be any new people. You've been with these people for, like, the past 5 years, basically.
Yeah, I think that's the real problem with Jared. Because Jared is a mess of a character. There's the whole thing that we've riffed on where he's like, no, Evan, we're not friends. We're family friends. And I'm like, okay, there are definitely times when you're kind of stuck with people you don't like when your, like, parents are...
Yeah, you just kind of tolerate them.
Yeah. You don't hang out with them at school, though.
No, you would just never talk to them. You don't sit with them at the soundboard that's not plugged into anything.
Yeah.
And, like, just talk with them the entire time during the assembly.
I just think they should have made that character, like, his one friend. I don't think that would have ruined the plot. But also, so this character is super homophobic, but also has one throwaway line about being
he is gay.
I'm not sure which came first there. It's super no homo 2012 type thing. This is the most self-hating gay man in existence, and it's really uncomfortable to watch. But then, as the movie goes on, he's like...
he is the one person that is aware that Evan's in a lie.
Yeah, but that never comes into factor. And
Never.
like, sometimes it seems like he's trying to join in on like the Connor clout chasing thing. And sometimes it seems like he's genuinely upset at Evan for doing all this. And sometimes it just seems like he wants his friend back because he has a girlfriend now. I don't understand Jared. He's a different character every time a scene happens.
He's a hacker, don't you know? He was able to hack into Gmail. It's simple programming.
It's simple coding. We've
hit just about everyone.
We've hit just about everyone. Julia Moore's in this. She plays the mom. She's extremely absent from Evan's life, and she's extremely absent from this movie. There's the dad, generic NCIS guy.
Law and Order.
Yeah, once again, some good ideas around him and like how he's handling his grief. I think in general, the strongest stuff is about the Hansen, not the Hansen family, the Murphy family.
Yeah. Amy Adams withstanding.
Yeah, but even the writing, I think, works. I think it's the performance that ruins it.
Do we talk about the climax now?
Well, I guess the thing with Alana is she starts this group that supposedly is for service projects. That's the worst ADR line I've ever heard. Very noticeable in a theater with already pretty bad sound. The rest of it is she wants to raise the money for this orchard, so that's where a lot of the conflict comes from. And then we get to the finale. The letter's out there. Evan goes to the family home and confesses his trouble. Zoe reasonably breaks it off with him. Then he goes back and Julianne Moore has her one scene of acting.
Well, this is also right.
The worst song in the movie.
This is also right after Julianne Moore refuses the Murphy family money.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the point of that scene's supposed to be. Like, you think we're struggling? I was like, I thought it was established that you are struggling.
I think it's supposed to call him out on taking advantage of them, but also he didn't know they were going to do this.
Yeah.
It's a scene that's thrown in there, but like very easily should have been cut out because it ultimately has no bearing on the plot. And
it's revealed that this scene they keep flashing back to, the reason Evan got his cast, because he was like, oh, I fell out of a tree when I was a volunteer, like nature ranger.
Like an internship at a park.
Yeah, and it turns out that was a suicide attempt.
Yeah, and you've seen flashbacks to it in like little bits and pieces, but you don't actually see the reason why he fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, he goes back to the tree. He tries to win an Oscar, and he starts to try to make up for his mistakes.
He starts trying to actually learn who Connor is.
He gets a video of Connor singing. He sends it to Alana, which is a bad move because you shouldn't trust her with anything related to Connor.
No, how he sends it to all these people. He sends a bunch of flash drives in the mail.
In a comically large manila envelope.
Without his address on it on a return thing. It's just postage and who it's going to. So these people are getting flash drives and plug it into their computer without knowing who it's from. This is like every PSA.
Well,
don't Trojan virus getting put onto your computer as we speak kind of thing.
I can see Amy Adams and Alana falling for it. Jared as a hacker shouldn't.
But why does Jared get one?
No, I don't know. Why does Alana get one? Because she can't be trusted. And why does Jared get one? He doesn't care. His whole thing is that he doesn't care about anything except when he maybe does. Yeah, and then the movie ends with he goes to the orchard. He meets up with Zoe one last time, and they have a little scene. Thank God they don't get back together. I was really worried about that.
I thought it was just from the way that she was dressed.
There are so many 2000s era movies that are all about a man making a mistake and losing a girl, and then he gets rewarded by having the girl back again. I thought this was going to be one of them.
Yeah.
But thankfully, she's just like, you shouldn't do anything stupid. I would have probably still dated you if you hadn't been a terrible person. Goodbye. And now he's happy.
Now he looks at the apple orchard, which is another plot hole within itself.
The apple orchard doesn't make sense, though.
I have to go back to it. I can't just leave it out there. Then I brought it up. Okay, so the nature community project that Alana starts, they're raising money to open up this apple orchard because Connor really liked it. And Amy Adams...
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. And Amy Adams is like, that must be where Evan fell out of the tree when him and Connor were at the apple orchard.
Connor
but I thought it
says
closed
that,
down months ago.
Yeah.
Or years ago. I thought it's been closed down forever. So how would they be there? Why would they be raising money for it if they were there? The lie began unraveling immediately.
It seems like a very nice sentimental place to set the finale of your movie, but in reality, it just raises a lot more questions.
And it ends with Evan writing another letter to himself. He's like, I'll do better next time.
I won't lie to a family that I was friends with their dead son.
And use it to get their daughter.
But if I do, I definitely won't share the supposed suicide note with Alana.
Or tell them about it.
The last thing I want to touch on in this, because I think we've thoroughly picked apart the movie itself and the acting. The way this movie is shot and directed. The editing is bad all throughout.
I forgot. You made me remember. There's a moment that looks like an Apple commercial where everybody's screens are backing out. And it's this isn't a movie.
It's all the people reacting to the viral video of
Evan's speech.
Yeah, and it zooms out and it
forms
makes
a picture of Connor.
And then turns into a profile picture. It's so awkward. That part's bad. There are parts where they're trying to do more with the setup, and there are parts that are good. Like there's a part in the I Feel Conflicted About My Dead Brother song where it ends on her going up the stairs, but the camera stays downstairs and lingers on a picture of her and her brother from when they were kids. Assumedly their relationship was better. That works. That's a good, like, nice little song moment. The crane shot at the beginning where it's like, we're just focusing on Evan, now zoom out to show like he's just this one person in this world full of people who don't care about him. Good shot. The rest of this movie, though, is just awkwardly filled with characters staring directly into the camera. In like conversation,
getting tighter and tighter and tighter with every word that gets said. Not for like, sometimes it's for like, oh, suspense. We got to make it uncomfortable. Everything's already uncomfortable in this movie, though. And like trying to match the editing to the beat of the music, but not consistently with the rest of the song. Tap. So it just feels super out of place. You know, Moulin Rouge, where they're like constantly cutting. What if we did that, but for only one part of the song? It's not good. No, it's bad. This is a bad movie. This is very bad. But the question is it the kind of bad that we seek? Is it hot trash? No. Hot trash, I find joy in. This, I was the one hunched over in my chair that Evan Hansen was trying to portray. This is a single-use hot trash. I had a lot of fun cringing at this movie and, like, getting mad at it. Man, I wish we had seen it in an empty theater because I would have been yelling top of my lungs, like God's Not Dead level yelling. Unfortunately, we weren't. I know if I ever go back to this movie, I'll have to turn it off within, like, the first 30 minutes because it is... Oh, it's so uncomfortable. It's such an uncomfortable movie to watch. I will, give this movie 1 point after all the negatives. For a 2-hour and 17-minute movie, it didn't feel that long. Yes, yeah, that is very true. Is that because I was uncomfortable the entire time, so I wasn't paying attention to everything? Possibly. I mean, there's definitely stuff you can cut out here. I think this duo is good enough at writing the music that with the exception of Julian Moore's song, none of the songs feel like they're dragging down. They also aren't like impressing me ever. Yeah, but they're perfectly like fine songs, and I think that's what I think they're being sung fine enough. The fact that I couldn't tell when it was a reprise, because I'm pretty sure I heard this song already, even though it wasn't a reprise. I mean, you had, yeah. I know, yeah, exactly, because every song is the same. And apparently they cut a lot of songs too. Yeah, apparently that's one of the things people are mad about. Show that Evan is a terrible person. Do you have anything else to say about Dear Evan Hansen? No, we've gotten everything we can out of this. So, Joe, we suffered through one musical this week. Yeah. But we are going to be hopefully not suffering through another one. We're entering what's going to be a couple fallow weeks for Hot Trash releases. So, Joe... Releases in general, anything that I'd really want to see and also would be, like, worth bringing to the podcast. We're not going to do Dune. But because we're entering this kind of fallow period, Joe is bringing me another musical, one from his childhood. I can almost guarantee I could bring up this movie to, like, anyone. No one would know what this movie is unless they were in my family. Yeah, okay. Or alive in 1962. I feel like everyone has those type of movies. Yeah. So what are we watching? We are going to be watching... Gay Paris, a movie about cats in Paris. A musical with Judy Garland, right? Her only animated role. This is going to be interesting. It bombed. How Aristocats is this? Not very. I was looking at it and trying to find stuff. Everything came flooding back to me about this movie because I watched it a lot as a kid. You're a kid. You rewatch movies. You just rewatch stuff all the time. I watched this a lot. Everything came flooding back, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have so many thoughts that I didn't know I'd have. Oh, this predates Aristocrats. This is a very old movie, and it sounds like a very old movie, too. I forgot when Aristocats came out, but it predates it by almost a decade. You'll hear it in the lines being delivered. Everything sounds like it's being recorded like a megaphone. I'm excited, because I've never heard of this movie at all. No one has. So, and I like Judy Garland, so we'll see. But thank y'all for listening. Hey, if you ever end up in a situation like Evan Hansen, don't do anything he did. Don't. Just back away. Run.